He walks into the bank at 2 in the afternoon. Broad daylight. No mask, no gloves, no hat pulled low. His face is completely visible, and he knows it, and he is not worried. He walks up to the teller, hands over a note, takes the cash, and walks out. He does this twice. 2 banks, same city, same afternoon, same uncovered face. When the police arrest him that night, using security footage that captured every feature in sharp detail, he is genuinely stunned. He stares at the officers and says something none of them will forget. "But I wore the juice." He had smeared lemon juice across his face before both robberies. Someone once told him lemon juice makes ink invisible on paper. He figured if it works on ink, it should work on cameras. He even tested it beforehand. He held a Polaroid at arm's length, snapped a photo of himself, and when the picture came out blurry, because he had accidentally aimed the lens at the ceiling, he took that as proof. The juice works. The science is settled. He walked into those banks not with recklessness, but with certainty. Total, calm, unshakable certainty. And because he was that certain, it never crossed his mind to check whether he was wrong. A psychologist at Cornell named David Dunning read about this case in 1996. He did not laugh. He sat with it. Because the man with the lemon juice was not stupid in the way people want to believe. He had a theory. He gathered evidence. He tested it. He drew a conclusion. He did everything a thinking person is supposed to do. He just did all of it badly. And here is the part Dunning could not let go of. The man had no idea he was doing it badly. He lacked the very skill he would have needed to recognize that he lacked the skill. That gap, that blind spot where incompetence hides itself from itself, became the seed of one of the most cited psychology papers of the last 30 years. In 1999, Dunning and Justin Kruger tested this at Cornell. Students took tests in logic, grammar, and humor, then estimated how well they did compared to everyone else. The split was clean. Students who scored in the bottom quarter believed they had outperformed roughly 62% of their peers. They did not think they did okay. They thought they did well. Students in the top quarter did the opposite. They underestimated themselves, assuming their classmates had done about as well as they had. The people who knew the least were convinced they knew the most. The people who knew the most figured everyone else knew it too. 2 opposite mistakes sitting next to each other, and neither group could see their own. But enough about college students in a lab. This is about your Tuesday morning. The pattern has a name now. It gets used often, almost always, to describe someone else. You have watched it happen. Your coworker who finished a weekend workshop on data analysis and now interrupts the team's actual analyst in meetings to suggest a better approach. That person at the dinner table who watched a 45-minute documentary about inflation and now explains central banking with the steady confidence of someone who has studied it for 20 years. The uncle at a family gathering who read 3 articles about a medical topic and tells the doctor in the family that she is not seeing the full picture. The person who started learning guitar 2 weeks ago and gives technique advice to someone who has been playing for a decade. The commenter who writes 6 paragraphs of corrections underneath a post by someone who has spent 12 years in the field. You know exactly who these people are. You have a specific face in your mind, probably more than one. That face is never your own. Here is what happens on a Tuesday night. You are scrolling through something, a thread, a feed, a comment section. Someone posts about a topic you have some contact with. Not deep contact. You read an article about it once, maybe a thread. Maybe you watched a 10-minute video 3 weeks ago. But something settles in your chest. A quiet, comfortable certainty. You know about this. Not everything, but enough. Enough to have a take. Enough to feel like the people arguing about it are missing something obvious. You start typing. The words come fast, and the words come fast because you are not stopping to second-guess anything, and you are not stopping because it does not occur to you that you might need to. You hit send. It felt clean, smooth, frictionless. That feeling, that easy, settled confidence, is not a signal that you know what you are talking about. It is a signal that you have not learned enough yet to see what you are missing. The friction comes later. It comes after the 3rd book. After the 20th conversation with someone who actually works in the field. After enough hours that you start noticing how many rooms the subject has that you have never opened the door to. That is when you begin to hesitate before you type. That is when the sentences get slower, not because you know less than you did on Tuesday, because you finally know enough to see the edges of what you do not know. The confidence you felt that night was not knowledge. It was the absence of knowledge, shaped exactly like knowledge, wearing its clothes, using its voice. This does not stay in comment sections and dinner tables. It sits in boardrooms where the loudest voice on strategy has read the least about it. It shows up in hospitals. Surgeons in their first year rate their own skills higher than surgeons in their 10th year, because 10 years of practice means 10 years of watching things go wrong in ways you never imagined on day one. New drivers feel safer behind the wheel than experienced ones. First-time managers believe they are better leaders than people who have been running teams for a decade and have finally learned how many invisible ways a team can fall apart beneath a confident smile. The effect shapes elections where voters with the thinnest understanding of a policy hold the thickest opinions about it. It shapes the sound of every public conversation online, every platform, every feed, because certainty is louder than nuance and algorithms reward the loud. The most confident voice in any room is so often the least informed one. The most informed voice is the one you have to ask twice before it speaks. The strangest part is what is happening right now. In this moment, you feel like you understand the pattern. You see it clearly, the overconfident coworker, the commenter who has never once questioned his own take, the beginner who does not know he is a beginner. You see all of them, and you feel like you are standing on the other side. The side that gets it, the side that would catch itself. That feeling, that clean and comfortable certainty that you understand this well enough to be safe from it, is the effect. It does not stop running because you learned its name. It just finds a new subject to run on. The new subject is the Dunning-Kruger Effect itself. The less you actually know about the 30 years of research behind it, the replications, the criticisms, the edge cases, the statistical arguments that have never fully been settled, the more solid and simple your understanding feels right now. The smoothness is the tell. If it feels easy, you are probably standing at the beginning and calling it the end. Tomorrow, you will explain something to someone. You will feel sure. That sureness will feel like proof. It is not. So here's the question. What is one thing you were once completely, absolutely certain about, only to realize later you had no idea what you were talking about? Drop it in the comments. Be honest. The more confident you were, the better the story.